Good day. Hi, this is Cherian Kuruvila, CK. Um, been a business mentor, business coach, executive coach, leadership coach, whatever title you want to give, right, for the last 11 years now, right? It's been a fascinating journey working with businesses, working with individuals, working with entrepreneurs, women leaders, senior CXO level people I coach in their mid 40s and 50s, and more recently, a very large group of individual who just entered corporate life in the early 20s, just after college. And I realized that there is so much of power in mentoring and coaching, but quite often the difference is not understood, right? And so, in fact, recently we did a program on what is the difference between mentoring and coaching and what applies when, and trying to demystify the whole concept of mentoring and coaching and what works well and when and why each one is required. So I think what was trying to sort of get across is to how do you demystify coaching, right? And I think coaching in India in particular has got a lot of connotations, coming back from various coaching schools and coaching institutes, and it's always seen as something where people are being prepared to get into some institute or whatever it is. Whereas coaching at an individual level is far more deep. It gets much more into the individual and what matters most to that particular individual in the context that he or she is in right now, either at work or in business or wherever. Right. And so recently, I wrote a small article on what I call the ABC of coaching. Right. Just trying to make it as simple as possible, and A, B, and C of coaching. And uh, just in this video, I'll quickly try to cover what I meant by ABC. When we start coaching an individual, right, it's all about building self-awareness. So the A is all about awareness, right? How well do you know yourself? How well do you know what are your strengths? How well do you know what's working well for you, what's not working well for you, how well do you know what others think about you, right? How often do you actually take feedback from others, either formally or informally in a structured 360 kind of a way? And you'll be surprised that when we actually do this coaching engagement and take a 360 feedback from 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 people, depending on the level of that individual and the kind of stakeholders that they're dealing with, right? We get so much of input on the individual as seen by others, right? Perceptions of others on what they see as the individual strengths as well as areas of development, right? And we also do the self assessment in terms of where the individual sees themselves in terms of their strengths and their areas of development. We also do a holistic, wheel of life exercise, which covers different facets of life, right from work to time management to health to family to relationships to friends and family, and seeing in terms of which are the areas working well and what's not working to that person's satisfaction. So I think the first part of coaching is all about self-awareness, right? And a lot of aha moments. So, people actually are seeing more strengths in me than I am seeing in myself, right? There are people who believe in me, even though when I keep doubting myself. And I think this is a starting point of change when you're becoming more aware, not just by introspecting by yourself, but along with a coach who is there to sort of handhold you in that journey. Right? And I think what happens as a result of that, when you actually start getting more clarity in terms of where do I need to focus on, what are the kind of professional goals I need to pick up, what are the kind of personal goals I need to pick up, and I always say pick up professional and personal because they're not two different compartments. End of the day, we are the same person. In a work for home situation, right? Everything gets mixed up. Professional, personal, all gets mixed up. So if you don't have sufficient dedicated focus on both, right, one of the two is going to suffer, right? So that was that. Right? So the second stage is about belief, self-belief, right? So after the self-awareness and the feedback, I think there's a lot of noticeable change in the self-belief that yes, I have the potential, I have it in me, I can do much more. Maybe I was sort of just, puffing around, not taking things seriously, not pushing myself hard enough, not challenging myself, not looking up for a role model, not looking for a mentor or a coach who could, challenge me. And I think that self-belief comes that yes, my change is in my hand, it's in my control, right? And nobody else can do it for me. Somebody can be there to sort of prod me, guide me, but not do it for me. I have to do it myself. And that is the next stage, which is the self-commitment, right? Where you say, look, this is important for me. The why I want to do it is very clear to me now, right? Why I want to do is very clear. And along with the coach or listening, I'm coming up with how to do it, what needs to get done, when it's going to get happen, how I'm going to measure and I'm making progress, right? Am I happy with the progress? Do I need to change my approach? So the entire commitment piece comes only when we are clear why we are doing what we're doing and why that goal is being chosen, right? So I think when I talk about ABC of coaching, I'm just trying to keep it simple. Starts off with self-awareness and gets down to self-belief. When you start believing that you have the power in you, and then comes a self-commitment where you say, I am going to do it for myself, not to keep somebody else happy, but to keep myself happy because I matter. And I think, the role of the coach is to really just be there as a sounding board, ask questions, listen patiently, empathize, not sympathize, and just, be there in the background, uh, making the person reflect and come up with all the answers, right? And that's really what coaching is all about. The answers come from the individual, as compared to mentoring, where mostly the mentor is somebody who's been an experienced person, the subject matter expert, domain expert, who will always tend to give suggestions. Why didn't you try this? Why did you do this? Have you thought about this? Right. So I think that's a very simplistic distinction between coaching and mentoring. That coaching makes you start owning up what you need to do differently. Mentoring is where you take the help of somebody else to sort of give you thoughts, experiences, inputs, so that you could come out of the current situation or problem that you're facing. Right? So this broadly is what I just want to cover in this video. There's a recent article which I've published on the ABC of coaching. I'd be happy if you can get down to having a look at that. It's there on LinkedIn and other places, or you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to sort of get there. Feel free to ask questions or do whatever else is required, and we can take it on from there. Thank you. I hope this was just a little bit of thought for 2022 as you're sort of looking at reinventing yourself or reinventing your business or reinventing the way you deal with life. And I think, that is when you will see how much power you've got in your hands. Right? Thank you.